meeting at the Kingston School Committee's public budget hearing. Jill, do we start with a roll call vote first? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Just double checking. Thank you. Okay. Jeannie Coleman.
Here.
Jesse Keith. Okay, Jesse's here. I see him.
Sorry, I had my volume muted.
That's okay. Sheila Vaughn. I see you just jumped on. And Jennifer Crouchin.
Here.
Excellent. Okay. Do we have a motion to open the public budget hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Roll call because we're online. Jeannie Coleman.
Yes.
Jesse Keith.
Yes.
Sheila Vaughn.
Yes.
Jennifer Crouchin.
Yes.
And I am a yes. Do we have any visitors here this evening that would like to address the committee regarding the budget?
Yes, I would.
Excellent.
I believe that your budget, the last one I saw, was $16,349,000 for a 4.82% increase.
Oh, no.
Or even if it's not exactly that order of magnitude. One of the things that I'm trying to do, leading the Board of Selectmen, is doing everything we can to not have to have a Proposition 2.5 override. I can tell you that believe it or not, I don't think it's going to fall on the schools to be the problem, the determinant, yes or no. Medical insurance, one more time, is killing us. If medical insurance comes in at somewhere near the first pass number of about 14% increase, I believe the town will have to go for 2.5 override. If for some way we get that medical insurance increase down closer to 7-8%, then I'm challenging the selectmen, finance committee, and now the schools to work with me to try to get to the point where we don't need a 2.5 override. I firmly believe that the 2.5 override could pass the selectmen. We'd probably recommend moving it forward. I think that it would have a good chance of passing town meeting, but I'm very concerned if it would pass the ballot where it's really required. So that's my way of saying I would like to challenge the school committee and the school administration to find some minor reductions in your current proposed budget. I would like to see it closer to 3% increase, but I also recognize that, that might be a little bit too challenging. If it was a 3.5% increase, that would be an approximate $200K reduction from what you currently have, which would be about 1.2%. So I would hope that that's not a terribly challenging or a terribly demolishing number. I also at this time, and I realize there's probably not a lot of people on board, but I'd like to say publicly that I hope people don't overreact. The minute we talk about a nickel of adjustments, reductions, whatever you want to call them, we tend to have people shouting out that we're going from classroom sizes of 21, 22 to classroom sizes of 31, 32. I think all of us on this call right now know that a 200K reduction isn't going to materially impact the average size of the classroom. I also would point out, I believe that you probably have close to 100 fewer students in the two schools now that our illustrious hotel is empty. So that's my way of just asking if you would at least consider, that you could do some kind of reductions from this current 4.8%. And again, my main reason for that is to try to get us all online where we don't have to go for a 2.5 override. You're seeing what's happening in a lot of communities that go for it. It's always a 50-50 shot if it's going to be passed. I also would hope that in a $16+ million budget, that if I was looking for a reduction of 200K, I'm not asking to slash the budget in material ways. So that's, my comment on the budget. I can also, and I'm not sure, I don't think you're going to vote for another month or so. The thing I would say is, if in fact you're working towards doing a reduction and we find out that we're going to go to the town for, my first pass would say that we could need to go to the town for a minimum of $1.2 million. But if you go for $1.2 million override, you're probably going to go for $2 million, because you don't want to have to go for an override next year or the year after. So that I would say that if you somehow found 200K reduction, 300K reduction, whatever you found, and we got to the point a month from now where we said, hey, we're going for a 2.5 override, then I would be the first one standing up and saying, hey, let's put that back in the local school's budget. Okay. So I think that's about all I need to say now. I certainly appreciate the work that the school administrations do in trying to get us to these budgets. I appreciate the school committees trying to, work with the school administration and town officials to, get the best education budget we can get. But at the same time, we don't want to bankrupt the town. And I think a lot of you probably know that Silver Lake, in fact, I'm having Jason Frazier speak to the selectmen next Tuesday night about the plan up there for your capital going forward, which I've already stated. I've told my rest of my selectmen it's an excellent plan. There's no reason why it shouldn't go through. But at the same time, I respect Jason in challenging the school administration and the school committee up there to come in with a 2.5% budget expense increase. Of course, I recognize that you come in with a 2.5% budget expense increase at Silver Lake, and Kingston could still end up with 4% or more, being I've always said it's never a good thing to be the big dog in the fight, but that's where we are, so we live with it. Again, thank you for listening to me, and I hope that we can all continue to work cooperatively. I think that we're off on a good point. I must admit, the town is behind. The town does not have, the only budget we have so far is what Mr. Pike here put together, and I'm not sure that people like Mr. Pike's budget, but I've at least challenged the town to get moving on their budget. That I think we're doing a disservice to all of us if we don't get a budget done sooner than later. Thanks a lot. Great to talk with you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pike. We really appreciate you coming and all of your insight on this. I mean, you have a long history with the town and the finances and the schools, and I think that you bring a lot of good points up and definitely, have given us some stuff to consider, because we do need to find the balance between servicing the schools as well as we can and also making sure the town can afford those services. So I think that we definitely have some things we can talk about, and that we do have probably some wiggle room here to get that down. So thank you very much. Would anyone else on the committee like to respond to Mr. Pike before I ask if there's any other visitors tonight?
If now is a good time to respond. Mr. Pike, I agree. I also appreciate you bringing up the insight about the hotel and the less students. As you know, our budget was approved last year before those students were officially, I believe, unenrolled. So therefore, at least speaking for myself, I didn't realize that we'd be down upwards of 60 students this budget season. So I will say, I think there is some room in the budget, and I appreciate your insight to get the budget down enough that the schools are not the one that's driving any needed override. So I think that would be appreciated by the town, especially. So thank you.
All right. Do we have any other visitors that would like to address the committee? Okay. Seeing none, then I will take a motion to close the public budget hearing and we will move on to our regular meeting.
I make a motion to close the public hearing. I just want to make sure people know this is the only time that you can speak regarding our budget. So before I make my motion, but okay, I make my motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Jeannie Coleman,
Yes.
Jesse Keith,
Yes.
Sheila Vaughn,
Yes.
Jennifer Crouchen,
Yes.
and I am a yes. Okay. So also this meeting is being recorded. Anybody intending to make an audio or video recording should notify the chair at this time. Okay. And we will roll call into our regular meeting. Jeannie Coleman,
Here.
Jesse Keith,
Here.
Sheila Vaughn,
Here.
Jennifer Crouchen,
Here.
and I am here. Okay. And then do we have any visitors not about the budget that would like to address the committee this evening? Okay. Let's see. School committee correspondence. We did receive an email from a parent regarding some concerns at the intermediate school, and we are working with administration to get everything addressed in that building. PTO report. Do we have anyone here from the PTO?
I'm here. I don't know if you guys can see me.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi guys, how is everybody? So a quick PTO report. We don't have too much going on in January because that is a bit of a quiet month. We do have a lot coming up though, so I thought I'd just give some highlights. Next week, we'll launch our Guilty Bakery Cupcakes and Cookie Dough fundraiser. This is always an excellent fundraiser for us. Parents get to order cookie dough, they get to order cupcakes, and we've raised anywhere between $7,000 and $10,000 with this one. So always fun, always need volunteers for it. So you're going to hear more about that coming up. The deadline for those orders is going to be the end of the month, February 25th. Harlem Wizards is coming up. That's going to be on March 31st. Still looking for sponsors. So if anyone is out there, please reach out. Still looking for interested volunteers. This is one of our committees where we're going to experience some pretty big turnover with committee chairs, kids aging out of the school. So, if basketball is your jam, please contact me. We'd love to get some folks in there shadowing our Harlem Wizards committee. So those are the biggest things that are coming up. Over the next 2 months or so. We're already starting to put together our committees for the spring book fair, spring teacher appreciation, the 5th grade boys night out, 5th grade girls night out, 6th grade celebration. So we've got a lot coming down the pike. And as always, we could use many more hands. So our next meeting is next week. It's Tuesday, February 10th at 7 p.m. It's in the KIS library. Everyone is welcome. So we hope to see some folks there. Any questions?
All right. Thank you so much, Barbara. It definitely sounds like you
Anytime.
guys have a lot of good stuff coming up.
Lots on our plate. Could use a lot more hands.
For anyone that doesn't know, Harlem Wizards is so much fun. So I would encourage people to get involved with that if they're able to, because it really is such a good time.
Agreed.
All right. Next up, we have approval for our consent agenda. Was there anything anybody would like to remove from the consent agenda before we move to accept it? Okay. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I will make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with all items included.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Jeannie Coleman,
Yes.
Jesse Keith,
Yes.
Sheila Vaughn,
Yes.
Jennifer Crouchen,
Yes.
and I am a yes. All right. New business. And we have an introduction of our new business and finance director, Stephanie Hatton. So Liz, I will turn this over to you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Just got a little, you lost network connection, but I didn't lose any of you. So here I am. It's my pleasure to introduce Stephanie Hatton to you. She is on the call. I think she might actually be en route. Oh, there she is.
I'm
Perfect.
still in the car. I have my kids in the car. Sorry, childcare just got turned around for me this evening.
We've all been
It's
there.
just-
Welcome.
Okay. Thank
Yes.
you.
Welcome to the committee that we get it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so Stephanie's been here and we've been lucky to have her the whole month of January, and here we are in February. And before we bid Sarah goodbye at the end of this month, we have the opportunity to have Stephanie and Sarah work together. So we're thrilled to have her. I'm glad she's here with us. And I'm sure she's happy to answer any questions now or anytime you want to reach out to her. She's here for us.
That's great. Thank you.
Yes, 100%. Thank you.
All right.
We have a, I don't know, I'll let the chair.
I know. Stacia.
Hi, I was just wondering, is there Teachers Corner tonight or no?
That is a great. We don't usually have Teachers Corner,
Usually right before PTO.
do we? I apologize. I'm not sure what
That's-
happened there.
That's okay.
Yeah, we usually do have teachers corner, but it's not on the agenda. But
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
Where would be an appropriate place to fit that in? Because I'm sure that we can.
right now.
Yeah. Would that be
I will make a motion
New
that we
business?
allow for Teachers Corner.
perfect? Is there a second?
Second.
Excellent. Jeannie Coleman. Okay, I see the
Yes.
yes. Jesse Keith,
Yes.
Sheila Vaughn,
Yes.
Jennifer Crouchin,
Yes.
and I am a yes. And I do apologize that that somehow came off of the agenda. We'll make sure that it's there next month.
That's okay. I'm with Mary Pat. She's next to me. So I'm doing KES. She's doing KIS. We always sign up for the February meeting because it's budget. So, I was like, oh, maybe it's not on it. So she was looking for the agenda and we couldn't find it. So we figured we'd raise our hand and ask. So
No, thank
for
you.
allowing it.
Apologize.
So at Kingston Elementary School, it's a very busy time. The building is bustling with lots of learning and many activities. They're learning about snow, snowstorms, tracking some of it with our new weather station, with our outside classroom. They're also very exciting day today with Groundhog's Day and learning about the legend of the groundhog and making predictions and all the good things that come with Groundhog's Day. The kindergartners are working on their 100th Day projects, and they will be sharing these with other students in their 100th Day museum this upcoming week. The first graders are beginning their timeline project, and they're having a 100-day readathon and collecting canned goods for the Kingston Food Bank as part of their readathon. So instead of last year, they did the Veterans Association. This year, they're doing the food bank. They're also working on Chinese New Year. Mrs. Day's having her dragon parade. Mrs. Lundy is always doing things with Chinese New Year too. In second grade, they're also working on 100th Day activities, but they're getting ready to learn about the Olympics with lots of activities about the Olympics. We're also excited in first grade and second grade, the reading department's partnering with BSU students, and they're coming in and they're bringing the author that wrote Grandma's Letter Exchange. And it's about an author who had letters back and forth with his grandmother. And then he wrote a book about it. And they started an organization like Letters for Elders. And you can sign your elderly, like housebound family member into the organization. And then the students in first and second grade are going to have a letter writing lesson with the BSU students and send letters to the housebound elderly people around Valentine's Day. And of course, in all the grades, Valentine's Day is their favorite holiday. It's like, no stress, low key. You get to get a card or something from your classmates. So they're very excited about that. And I'm going to let Miss Dodge step in. Hi, I'm Mary Pat Dodge, fourth grade teacher at KIS. And there are many wonderful things going on at our school. In third grade, they just had their field trip to Plymouth-Patuxent. It was a grant written by Mrs. Viveros and Mrs. Graceffa and provided by the Sheehan Family Foundation. A Pilgrim educator actually came to the school and taught the third graders about the Mayflower voyage. She, along with other Pilgrim educators, gave private guided tours the next day at Plymouth-Patuxent. The students were very engaged and had a wonderful time.
and we want to thank the Sheehan Family Foundation for their generosity. Also, coming up next Friday, not this one, local author Barbara Mora is volunteering her time and will be visiting the 3rd grade, and will be reading her book, Mermaids of Rocky Nook. 5th grade is about to go on their field trip at the end of the month to the Whaling Museum in New Bedford. It is always a fun trip. It's a great field trip. The KPTO has donated money to all grades for cultural enrichment. In the fall, 3rd grade had a meteorologist, Danielle Noyes, came to the school. They had some money left over, so they worked with 5th grade. And it's very exciting. 4th and 6th grade work together, and on March 4th, we will have author Ellie Schwartz come and talk to us. KPTO is organizing sending out a link so parents can purchase her books ahead of time so that students can then have a signed copy. Last month, 6th graders went on their field trip to Foxborough Stadium. They say the excitement was in the air as the Patriots had gotten into the playoffs. This year, due to having a venue that had enough parking, parents were invited to join the field trip as long as they drove themselves. Parents were happy, and so were their children. The teachers were told they were the best behaved group that the Patriots organization has had in a long time. So that was great to hear. We want to thank the PTO for all that they do to enrich our students' experiences. We also want to thank them for their generosity to individual educators in awarding their mini grants. You can look for their newsletter, and you can find them on social media to see how much money they actually donated. I'd be talking a lot longer if I listed them all. But we are so moved by their generosity. And at the end of the week, the Winter Olympics will start. If you happen to be in the building, KIS, check out the display case by the auditorium. 4th graders research different Olympians who will be competing in Italy. 4th grade has also started an Olympic reading challenge. Students are encouraged to read and fill out a log. At the end of the month, we will tally the minutes read and award gold, silver, and bronze medals. The 3rd grade is having math multiplication Olympics. Students set personal goals each week to improve their multiplication skills. They are working hard and striving for gold. The Student Council has designed a Spirit Week that is Olympic themed for February 9th through
Did she freeze for everybody? All right.
I'm so glad you asked.
I know. Well, I'm like, is it me? Very bad. I don't know if you can hear me, but you're frozen. We lost you at Spirit Week. Okay. Dr. Prue.
I'm not sure it will work this time, but sometimes when everyone turns off their picture, when we have a problem with connection, we're able to hear.
Oh.
Because we have so many people online tonight.
Gotcha. Okay.
It might help.
We can try it. Everyone could try turning off your camera. Okay, Mary Pat, are you there?
I think she logged off.
Okay.
This almost looks like a prank now.
I know. It's really awkward just looking at the names.
Okay, she'll get back on.
She'll get back on. All right. I guess we can turn cameras back on. Oh, I just.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
there they are.
I don't know
Sorry.
why we lost. I don't know where you lost me.
We
but-
lost you at Spirit Week.
Oh, so yeah, we're having a Spirit Week, and then I talked about skiing with Miss O'Brien now that there's snow out there, and that there's a library. I won't read it all because I don't want to. I know it's a busy meeting, but the library is still doing their bookmark contest that they normally do in January, and hopefully we'll have some winners when it gets sent off to the state. So just want to thank you for your time, and we'll see you soon.
That's great. Thank you both. It sounds like so many good things happening in both buildings, which we love to hear about. So that
Absolutely.
is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheila has a hand up.
I did not mean to do that. I meant to just be clapping my hands and saying thank you, but instead I put my
Thanks,
hand up.
Sheila. We'll clap back to you.
Clap back. My daughter wants to read the 500, by the way, the 500 minutes. She's all about it.
Oh, I love it. Go for gold. I love it.
Woo.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll jump back into our new business now for the first student year 7 option discussion, which Sarah is going to help us out with. I think you guys can turn your cameras back on and we'll be go.
Hello, everybody. So I am presenting to you tonight the Year 7 option for first student. This is something that it's on here for discussion. It will get voted by the Silver Lake School Committee and the Joint Committee for approval. But I put the schedule of the increases in the folder for you tonight. And you can see that we have an increase under 5% between FY26 and FY27. I am confident that if comparing this to what's happening in other districts that are going out to bid, districts are seeing double-digit increases in transportation percentages. So this is a case where Silver Lake inked a contract right in the middle of COVID in August of 2020, and that has been very beneficial for the district. So at this point, I would be recommending that we exercise the Year 7 option and go out to bid next spring.
Jeannie.
Thank you. Before I make a motion to do that, and obviously this is something that we talked a lot about in the last couple of years, like this is no brainer for the new folks on the committee. This is definitely our best option, especially seeing some of the increases in surrounding towns for bus drivers. I guess my concern is, I know that with special education, there is no ceiling to increases in costs over the years. I'm just wondering if there is a cap at what first student could bring us for a contract for FY28. Could they bring us a 10% increase or even higher?
So we're required, the district is required by law to go out to bid for school bus transportation. It is a process where the bid package has to be put together. It gets posted in the newspaper, on the office operational services division's website called Combuys. It gets posted on the website, on our website. It gets posted on the bulletin board in the central office. And then there's a period of time in which any bus company can put together a proposal. And then there's the bid opening, and the bid goes, the contract is awarded to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. One of the things that has been happening consistently across Massachusetts is when something goes out to bid, only one company will bid on it. When I went out to bid in Middleborough, and we got two bids. We had a contract with First Student. It ended. It was ending, and we went out to bid in the spring, and we got two bids. And the lowest responsible and responsive bidder was a company called 5 Star, and they are now the bus company in Middleborough. So we could get 3-4 companies bidding, and they could bid, a 27% increase over what we're seeing now, 28%, 30%, and would have to go with the lowest. So really, it's been a difficult market for going out to bid with transportation contracts.
Okay.
And I couldn't make a prediction today as to what's going to happen next year.
Thank you. That was actually my next question. Was, I do recall we only received the bid from First Student 5 years ago. Is that correct? Or almost 7 years ago now. Six years ago. But I guess I'm wondering if, especially, that's something that we can keep in mind as you transition out with Stephanie coming in, that we make sure that we're supported for transportation for next year, because that's something that I can already anticipate is going to be a huge hit to our budget if we can't contract a reasonable increase, whether with First Student or whatever other company comes into bid. So
normally what you would do, normally what a school business manager would do would be go out to, put the bid package together in February, go out to bid, have everything due in April. Stephanie and I have already talked about this. And one of the things I said to her is the timeline has to be different, and bids have to be due in December, because you need to know what you're going to be budgeting for. So I was really lucky. I came into Silver Lake and I had a spreadsheet that said, this is how much for FY25. This was how much for FY26. And now when 27, if we extend the contract, we'll know what we're doing in 27. If we don't extend the contract, the budgets will need adjustment significantly. But again, I recommend we go with year 7 of the contract because it is such a good deal at this point in time. But as I was saying, Stephanie and I already spoke about when to go out to bid next year. I have some recommendations to changes to the bid package. There's certain things that I put into the bid package in Middleborough that would benefit Silver Lake greatly. Things like having the routes due to the superintendent's office by the beginning of August. So then they can be reviewed and adjusted instead of having the routes come in the week before school starts and spend the first 2 weeks of school adjusting routes. That's crazy. So I would make recommendations for some changes.
Okay. Thank you very much for being proactive with that, because again, it's something that I anticipate we'll be having a greater discussion about next year, but I'll defer to the chair and then I'll make a motion that we extend or that we option accept the year 7 option.
Do we need to vote on that, Sarah?
It needs to be voted on by Silver Lake and Union 31.
Okay. So do we?
I just
don't need
wanted
to vote?
I just wanted you to have an opportunity to ask all the questions you might want to ask.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify. Thank you. And thank you for all of that. Thank you for being proactive. As Jeannie said, like this, it's such a wild card. So I think, going with the year 7 does make the most sense. So I think Silver Lake will probably
just to echo you, Megan, I appreciate your recommendations, Sarah, and your insight. Obviously, I'm new to the committee, so I wasn't involved. And, it does seem like quite a monopoly. So in your hands are arguably tied, but what else you can put in there to kind of ease things. And that piece on the routes, I didn't realize that was what was holding me up over August. So.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions for Sarah regarding the year 7 option for the bus contract? Okay, excellent.
Megan, I'm sorry, can we just circle back just to explain? I believe Sarah hit most of it, but what this means is we had signed a 5-year contract with First Student. We, in that contract, it had an option for year 6 and year 7. So now this is the final year that we could option with First Student with the existing 5-year contract that expired a couple years ago.
Thank you. That was a good call. All right, next up, regionalization study update. So Jeannie, that's you.
Okay. There were a couple of meetings last week. One of them was with the Collins Center. It was with the subcommittee of the regionalization committee. And we just discussed that we are going to have a placeholder meeting every month. Whether it's needed or not will be determined based on where we're at in the process. We did discuss that we are all hoping to have this data received by time that if this was something that was going to be acted on, it would be for the spring of 2027, which is not this coming year. But we do anticipate it's approximately 18-month study. It's going to involve stakeholders, staff, members of the public. It's still in the data collection right now, and our central office has done a really great job compiling a lot of the data already for the Collins Center. And then we met again the following day with the entirety of the subcommittee, or excuse me, the regionalization study committee with the Collins Center. And we basically, explained what was discussed the previous day. And then we do not currently have a date set for that meeting. It's going to be based on how we're doing with the regionalization subcommittee, but we're going to be meeting the second Tuesday of every month for the foreseeable future. And I believe Dr. Prue has her hand raised maybe about that.
Oh, no, I think it might be about that my eyes glazed right over the last piece of new business. So
sorry about that.
No, that's completely my fault. And I apologize that I am clearly struggling this evening. Circling back to new business, the last piece of that we had was to just take a review of and possible discussion of our policy about visitors to the schools, which, if anybody hasn't seen it, I did email to the committee for easy reference if you haven't had a chance to take a look at that. Dr. Prue.
So we received a concern about badges, lanyards being worn at the middle school in particular, which wasn't a Kingston concern, but it included Kingston school committee members on the correspondence. You may recall that earlier this year we received a similar concern about matching lanyards, and the chair had asked that I place this policy in the folder for tonight for discussion. I also contacted MASC. They do not recognize badges as a policy issue. And in speaking with both MASC and our schools attorney, it is a contractual issue and should have been in the staff handbook years ago when it was first started as an expectation. In looking back, we know that it's been done for at least 15 years, and that's just going back on people's memory of people who have been here for 15 years or more. So they, what I do know is that the school committee has asked the principals to order matching lanyards for staff, and both KIS and KES towards the beginning of the year did so. I'll also reassure the committee that in our schools, in our elementary school and intermediate school, we have a Raptor system. Upon entering the building, if we have a student visitor in the building, they're given either a visitor badge or a printed sticker from the Raptor system in order to enter our schools. And we have reviewed this with staff. Our principals have put it as reminders as well, just in case.
Thank you. I think part of the concern, I think it's kind of two-part. Part of it was staff wearing the identifying lanyards, and then part of the commentary that we had received was about visitors in the building, and the parent felt that all visitors were not wearing identifying badges or lanyards, which I think is where the discussion may or may not happen. It's not in the policy. It doesn't say that visitors need to wear a badge or identifying information.
Right, because that's procedure. So you have the policy, and the procedure is, and you wouldn't put a specific, let's say, program in, because things like Raptor change and technologies change. So the policy itself stands. Anything beyond that would be considered contractual. And so both MASC and the school's attorney advise against putting very specific language with regards to matching lanyards in particular into the policy.
Okay, but what about as far as visitors go? So not the staff piece, but can anything, just in terms of like that you have to have some type of identification visible?
It is the practice. So practices and protocols are two different things. I mean, protocols are different, practices are different than policy.
Okay.
It becomes operations.
Okay.
I think is another way I could phrase it.
Okay. Sarah, I see that you have a hand up.
Yes, if I can comment on this. I just want to frame the idea that when we talk about visitors are coming into the building between the morning bell and the afternoon bell. And they do go through the process where their ID gets scanned by the Raptor system, which runs like a quick background check on them and then approves them to enter the building or not. So visitors that come into any of the buildings across all three towns do go through that process. But if you're there for an event at night, like an open house or a parents' night, it's not feasible to check everybody in.
Thank you for that clarification about the during the school day versus not. Yes, definitely. Okay. Is there any discussion from the committee?
I guess I just want to echo just the concerns that we don't want to, I think, come across that we're saying, oh, this is a procedure versus a policy versus, a practice. I think it sounds to me as an outsider that doesn't work in the school buildings every day, but I go in and I'm showing my ID and I'm getting a scanned photo that has my ID, like photo on it. And then I'm wearing it around the building unless I'm there for something that's got, I believe, another couple of hundred parents, you're signing in on a clipboard for that. But I understand the concerns, especially in regards to, I think specifically the parent had mentioned a maintenance person, because the child walking around the building would not recognize a maintenance person as somebody that belongs in the building if they're not properly identified. So I hear that parents' concerns that we don't want the building to appear that it's open, and just because we think that we have a very safe process, if they're not wearing something on them, whether it's a tag or a lanyard to identify themselves that they belong there, then a child might actually maybe be concerned about that. Or if, God forbid, something were to happen, that's something that obviously that person had snuck in and there was no recourse because everyone just assumed that they came in through the front door. So I guess I hear the parents' concerns. I don't want to act as though it's something that we don't have control over. The way that I look at it is, if you go to work, you have a procedure that you need to follow, whether it's wearing a lanyard or wearing a tag or whatever it may be, but there's a procedure for that. So I don't want outside buildings to be safer than schools. That's just how I see this. And I want to make sure that we're hearing the concerns so that they don't keep recycling. And then it becomes, something where we're all getting scrutinized because this doesn't sound like it's that difficult to follow or to have a uniform policy, maybe even across the district. And again, going back to the regionalization study that I just mentioned, these are some of the things. We don't all have the same policies throughout the district, which again is probably separate from procedure, but there are differences in policies between even Kingston and Silver Lake. So I just want to make sure that something like this that's got to do with student safety, that it's something that can be complied with, and we're not receiving emails that somebody didn't feel safe in the building. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Can I also add that I feel like visitors to the schools, it shouldn't just be an internal policy with lanyards. I know there have been times when I've come to the schools and I'm not asked the reason for my visit before entering the building. So yes, we go in and we get a name badge or something, but we should have to state our name or our reason for being there and why we're entering before we even enter the building. So I think that needs to be addressed as well.
Thank you, Jesse, for bringing that up. That's a good point. I mean, we can all agree student safety is paramount to everything. So I guess just a good reminder for everybody, put it on people's radar as we move forward. Are there any other comments, questions, discussion from the committee?
Going back to what Jesse just said, there was a discussion, it was probably about 9 years ago, it was my first couple of years on the committee, about possibly building a vestibule before you enter KES. And I believe that's been changed to where there's now the window that opens from the office to address visitors before they come into the office. I'm not sure if that's still the practice. I don't have a child over there anymore, but that is something that made it so far as they were looking at a capital plan project to make sure that somebody could not just enter the school building from the outside. And now, of course, we know that the doors do scan. I believe that might have been money that was ARPA funds or something from COVID, but that the doors, you have to buzz in. They don't just, you can't just have a door open to the public. But that's how serious these concerns were raised in the past. So I'd feel stupid if somebody were to approach us again and say that somebody did enter a building inappropriately, and to say, oh, well, it's not a policy or procedure. I don't want it to be a reactive response. So, but no. Thank you.
Agreed. Okay. Dr. Whipple and then Dr. Prue. And then G. 1, 2, 3.
I just wanted to ask a clarifying question. So when we have parents that are coming to the building, we tend to know why. It's because their child just got sick, or we know in pickup patrol they're picking up early. So I just want to make sure so we can let all the secretaries and office people know that we're expecting them to do that regardless, even if we know why they're there.
Jesse,
Yes.
would you like to clarify your?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I was there one day to pick up my daughter when it was I don't even know if it had been reported to the school earlier this year. So, you know, I rang the bell and was just buzzed right in. And I think that to me jumped out in my mind when you know, it should be asked. Even if I'm a known person, you never know what's going on a daily basis. So I think we just need to make sure that safety is always first and foremost. And I think especially in KIS where you're not as visible right at the door as KES is, just to be on top of that at all times.
They do have cameras, just so you know.
Yep.
Dr. Brew, did you still want to comment or?
No, my expectation is and continues to be that all visitors to the building would be asked those questions and would go through the Raptor system, regardless, because that was the reason for purchasing the Raptor system. And again, if that requires constant reiteration, then that is what we will do to make sure it's occurring.
Thank you. And Mr. G, I see you have a hand up.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so the service window that Jeannie spoke about, that's something we put in during COVID, during the pandemic, just to limit people in the building. But it has served as an additional safety measure and communication point instead of having to let people in because we don't have the vestibule. I think, yeah, a great long-term, that's something I look at and think about every day is the vestibule there at the front entrance. So definitely something we could do to improve infrastructure long-term. And I just want to clarify maybe or ask a clarifying question for the clarifying question. If a parent or someone is coming into the building to dismiss their child and they're just waiting in the office, do they still need a Raptor badge?
Dr. Prue, I will defer to you on that one.
I'm going to think no, but I just want to make sure we're all under the same.
So,
because that could be a lot.
Again, my concern is that if you don't do it for all, we get lax and we stop doing it for some. So where it's become an issue, we're going to print off stickers until as many stickers as we need to make sure that the kids are safe.
Okay.
Thank you. Jen.
As someone who has children in both schools, and I'm probably more of a frequent flyer at KES than KIS, but at KES, they either know I'm coming because I'm picking up a child, and we usually communicate through the vestibule or a sign. And I've always gotten a badge when I'm leaving that area, for the volunteer opportunities. I will say at KIS, I think to your point, Jesse, I just get buzzed in, right? And they don't necessarily know why I'm there. And I have volunteered there before. I don't think I've ever had a badge at KIS, but I've had to sign in is what I've had to do before. Or to Jeannie's point earlier, you've gone to something in the cafeteria or something like that during the day. So there was just a sign in option, but I can't recall getting a badge at KIS.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion or commentary on this topic?
Megan, I think just to say, I don't think we're trying to make anyone's lives any more difficult. I think it's just the concern that, we live in difficult times right now, and God forbid something did happen and we were not proactive about something that might be as simple as, scanning extra IDs or starting something 20 minutes earlier or whatnot. But it's a concern. This parent's raised it now a couple of times. So, and he's also repeated that, in the district that he works, it's an expectation. So I think that, the school committee asking all of our staff to put our student safety first and forefront over where they might want to wear a lanyard or a tag or something, I think is important. So thank you.
No, I agree. Thank you. And I think, the conversation is because it was raised by a parent is for a second time this year. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate your participation in this conversation. All right, next up, we have administration reports. We'll start with KES. Mr. G, what do you guys have going on?
Hello. Well, Mrs. Levitt spoke about all the wonderful things we have going on and coming up. So that was great to hear, and thank you for sharing. We did get our school improvement survey in with 160 respondents. I preliminarily looked at the positive trends and areas of improvement with school council. I will be doing that with the teachers as well, just looking at how we can, collaborate on addressing some areas of improvement and then celebrating the strengths and the positive trends. And then additionally with the school council, I'll be looking at how we need to modify the school improvement plan based off of the feedback. Multicultural night was another huge success. I think we had our largest turnout, or everyone just showed up at 5 o'clock. Usually it's a steady flow, so it was just a really great opportunity again to celebrate all the diversity and unity of KES, and just got a lot of great feedback. We had a great turnout with families and friends, students and staff, and then central office as well. So it was a very positive experience. This week we have our data meetings coming up to look at our winter benchmark data and student achievement. We'll also have our community meetings K-2 where we'll just review everything that the students forgot over Christmas break. So that's always a good time. Our 100th day of school, like Mrs. Levitt said, is coming up on the 5th. Then we have February vacation, the 16th to 20th. The 23rd is our teacher in-service day. So that's when we do continue our HMH math, work. And then there's also an additional PD opportunity for paras. This is, it's called Walking in My Shoes, understanding how students with learning disabilities experience school. So this could be a very impactful opportunity for paraprofessionals. They don't often get the chance to have these training opportunities. So this is something we'll definitely promote and ensure they consider attending. That's it for KES.
That's great. And that's really great to have an opportunity for the paras to participate.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. G? Okay. Next up, Dr. Whipple, what is going on at KIS?
It's really busy at KIS. I'm enjoying getting to know all the staff. Luckily, I already know all the families and the students, so that made it super easy. But it's been awesome. And I have to thank the staff for being so welcoming and patient with me because, I'm a new guy coming in here. So they've been wonderful. So similar, Mrs. Dodge also stole some thunder here by talking about all the amazing things that's going on at KIS. We do have our grade level meetings tomorrow for and community meetings. So while the response team is working with the students by grade level, I'll be working with the interventionists, with the grade level teachers to go over the data, analyze it, and talk about next steps. February newsletter had went out, so you probably saw that update. School improvement plan is in motion here at KIS. I did the survey, sent that out. I've had 125 responses. I would love a lot more. If you've noticed by the times I keep sending it out. So if you can encourage your friends to do it, that'd be great. Just to say, Mrs. Batcher was really grateful for all the toilet paper rolls that came in. The 5th grade students made cardboard cats. They came out wonderful. Already talked about the Olympics. The 5th grade team has been working really hard on doing strong collaboration skills while working on group projects across all content areas. Throughout the process, they're working on communicating effectively, using shared ideas and supporting one another. And there's a project coming up with Mr. O'Connell in 6th grade, and it's called the Ancient Egypt Recipe. So they were given resources to research the foods that ancient Egypts were able to grow along the Nile River, and they're using that information to do some projects. Our reading team, as mentioned, we also have that reading challenge. So we're looking to beat the 70 students who, sorry, there's a little background in my head. Oh God. Okay. So trying to outdo the 70 students. So we're looking to get a lot more students. Specialists are working on growth mindset. They're talking a lot about that in library and art class. And building maintenance. We've been working a lot of building maintenance within the facilities to fix some things. I know there's been a lot of questions or concerns about the roof and some other things. So I just want to let you know that it's all in the process of being addressed right now, and a lot of it's already been addressed. You had saw the upcoming dates, and I think that's it. And then I know there was a flyer, I think, under for me too.
Yes, that was built into our consent agenda
Oh, okay, just kidding.
for
Thank
the
you.
Tory.
Is there a date yet for that? It wasn't on the flyer, but for the.
Not yet.
Okay, thank you.
Just one question. When does the school improvement survey close? Just so families know how long they have to take that.
I was going to push it out one more time and try to close it on Friday.
On Friday. Okay, awesome. So yes, if families could take that, it is much appreciated. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Sarah, do you have any other updates?
I don't have anything in addition to what was in the consent agenda or the bus company. I do, Dr. Prue, can I ask the committee a question about the budget?
Yes.
So
Yes.
so thank you. When the budget was presented to you in December, we gave you 3 options. We gave you a level service budget, which was that 4.8% increase that Mr. Pike spoke about. We gave you a 2.5% budget increase budget, and then a level funded budget. And I have put together the assessment presentation for Silver Lake for Thursday night, and without any indication from the committee as to what option you might want as a budget, I just picked 2.5% because I had to have a number to work with. So is this something that the committee would consider, or Mr. Pike had suggested a 3% increase?
Jeannie, I see you have a hand up.
Actually, during the meeting, we received an email. Megan, I believe you might have also received it regarding, parents that were questioning what was part of the presentation and what was part of that 2.5% that Sarah's speaking about and Mr. Pike referenced. That would include 3 full-time teachers, 1 para, some technology money, and excuse me, let me just back it up so that I can make sure I'm referencing it correctly. 2 teachers from KES, 1 teacher from KIS, 1 para from KIS, and tech supplies, as well as $83,000 in curriculum. That equaled $362,436. That would bring our budget to a 2.5% increase. Something to keep in mind. We still don't have the state numbers, I believe. That was pushed to the 11th. Is that correct?
We have those.
We do have those. So are those
Yes.
numbers accurate to the state numbers? Like reflect what is circuit breaker fully funded at 75% or 70?
That I don't know yet.
Okay. So when I said earlier, I think we do have some wiggle room. Specifically what I was speaking to is, number 1, we don't have the state numbers, but if that circuit breaker is that 5% higher for circuit breaker, although we might not want to budget that high, we do have, a little bit of room there. But also going back to what Mr. Pike brought up, and I'd also like to consider, we didn't have an additional like 60 plus students that we had budgeted for last year in regards to classroom sizes. And when we look at the classroom sizes projected with the 2.5% increase, the highest class size will be grade 6, which is 25-26, which is what they're carrying right now this year with last year's budget. Everybody else is 23-24, 24-25 for grade 4. This would be with the 2.5% increase. And then kindergarten with projected of 161, but of course we don't know that number yet, would still be 2021. So I agree with Mr. Pike that we don't want to, tell the public that if we were to make any of these cuts that we're looking at 30 in each class, because we're not. We're looking at the exact same almost numbers that we've been carrying every year prior to this year, which right now we've got some class sizes down around 16, 17 because we had projected higher than what was probably, I don't want to say needed, but I don't want to speak for the committee about what we include with that assessment for Thursday night. But I would say even if we went around a 3% increase, we'd at least be able to salvage one of those positions regarding a full-time, staff member, perhaps keeping that 25-26 higher lower or based on what kindergarten enrollment is. But I will say, as someone that's been on the committee through multiple developments opening, like being built, including Tall Timbers, Three Rivers, we don't have any of that current construction going on that's going to push our kindergarten enrollment through the roof. So I think that 160 anticipated for kindergarten is probably even a high estimate, given that this year's numbers aren't even that high. But I'll defer to the rest of the committee, but I would be comfortable sending around, I think, a 3%, which, if I'm not mistaken, that would probably add another 80,000 from that 2.5% that was presented. But I'm not the finance guru. So.
All right, thank you, Jeannie. Do we want to discuss that like
Jesse,
right
you're
now?
muted. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, when I look at the level services projection of numbers, even some of those at KIS 23, 24 in a classroom still are high. I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable recommending the 2.5 in a reduction in staff at this point until we have all the final numbers. Even if we projected the 160 range for kindergarten, a class of 20 to 21 kindergartners is a lot. So I'd really want to know more before we make a recommendation for a budget that is under our level service at this time.
Would anyone else like to weigh in? Dr. Brew.
I might recommend if we don't have a decision tonight, we can continue to present the assessments with a 2.5 as planned, and then we can always adjust that after.
Okay.
Megan, my only concern with that is I feel like we're telling the town that we've already made cuts that we haven't. Like then we'll get in. And the only, just keeping in mind that this is a level service budget that we'd be cutting from. So my only concern with pulling forward to 2.5 is it's saying that we've already made cuts. That's why I wouldn't mind for like an assessment purpose just to say, okay, Kingston may be looking at a 3% increase, but in reality, I don't think we're in a position yet to vote a final budget. So I almost want to say, like, maybe for Thursday night, maybe include the 4.82 and see what happens with Silver Lake, because then we might know what we have to do to be fair to the entire town, based on, okay, now we know that Silver Lake's looking at, this situation in Halifax, this situation in Plimpton. Kingston's going to have to bring, their budget a little bit further down just to make it equitable for all of the towns that are going to be probably making some cuts.
So just to be clear, whether the Kingston School Committee goes with 4.82 or 3% or 2.5% or 0%, that doesn't affect anything other than Kingston's total cost of education, because that's the Kingston elementary budget we're talking. That won't affect Silver Lake's number.
Right, but when it's rolled in with the town assessments, that number that'll be presented on Thursday night, I don't want it to be assuming that Kingston's already made any cuts. That's I think my biggest concern. So like, I don't want to say, oh, Kingston's in at 3% or 2.5%, because then we're telling them that we've already made the cuts, and it'll be very difficult from years past to get that money added back to our budget if we haven't actually made the cuts.
No, I think you're right, Jeannie. It's always easy to go down, but it's far more difficult to go back up. So starting with that higher number for that reason, I think makes sense. Jen, I see you have a hand up.
I'm just looking for historical context as the newbie, which I'm going to still take advantage of. Typically, what do we look at as a budget? Are we passing level budget? Are we passing, at a just like a small increase? Try to keep in line with what Mr. Pike aligned with. Jeannie?
Jen, our budgets have kind of skyrocketed the last several years. We had one year where I believe Kingston's budget might have been around 3.5%. Kingston specifically elementary budget. We've been around 6 to 10% in the last few years of an increase. Some of that drastic increase had to do with the total cost of education due to the restructuring that was required in the district. Kingston picked up a lot of additional costs for special education district-wide. We used to be responsible for the K-6 budget as well as the special education budget for all of the Kingston students from 3 through age 22. Now, due to the restructuring, the preschool is included in the Silver Lake regional budget. So our regional agreement includes preschool, then grades 7 through 12. And because of the way that the assessment works for grades 7 through 12, we're now responsible for around 57% of special education costs for the entire district for grades 7 through 12 up to 22 because of the way that the Silver Lake assessment works. So because of that, Kingston historically, again, we used to be responsible for all of our children's special education that came from Kingston. Now we've got more of a wider responsibility, which is part of what's driving these regionalization study committee meetings, or the study kickoff, which is being paid for by a grant, as a reminder. But it's really just, and then going back to that historic piece, our K-6 special education was all under a Silver Lake umbrella, if you would, and DESE, they required the district to unravel that. They said that that's an illegal setup because our regional agreement did not include grades K-6. So the last several years, Dr. Prue and all of us have worked to unravel what was considered deemed an illegal structure of our district. And that brings us to where we're at now, which is still that all 3 towns have their separate school committees for K-6, and then they go back into the regional bucket 7 through 12. But in terms of special education costs, we're only responsible for grades K-6 now for special education. And those programs that are housed at KIS, but may have like a Plimpton student or a Halifax student, those towns are responsible for that cost to Kingston to make sure that Kingston's not eating that cost, if that makes any helpful sense.
Very helpful. Thank you.
So I will adjust the assessment presentation to go back to the 4.82% for Kingston for the elementary school budget for the presentation for Thursday night.
And Sarah, I just want to go on record for Thursday night that this isn't because Kingston has agreed not to make any cuts. It's because we want to kind of see the whole big picture before we start seeing what's required, I don't want to go in at a 3% and then see that, we had some wiggle room there.
Understood. It's just,
thank you.
This was the only school committee that didn't give me any indication of where to head.
And I will also add that while Mr. Pike's state of the town was very helpful, it's still not giving us like an actual number. And I get it. I get that the health insurance is killing the town, and I agree with him that I don't think the schools would be what drives an override for the town of Kingston. But I also want to make sure that this isn't a year that the schools take the hit so that the town can get their increases where they need them. Also, like I'd love to kind of understand more of the town's budget before the school comes in at 3%. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have any other further discussion regarding the piece? Okay. Next up, we have Dr. Clifford with the curriculum update.
Hi, everyone. I just have a few things tonight. We've already talked about a few of them. But the first one is that on February 23rd, we're going to have a professional development day in the district. That will include several things, AI professional development at the high school. The consultant from HMH will be working with educators K through 8, K through 5, and 6 through 8 ELA curriculum councils will be working on program review for ELA, focusing on selecting new program. And at the middle school and high school, there'll be department meetings and also school-based training and professional development. And again, the HMH person consultant will return again in May. And as far as elementary information, we have the K through 5 curriculum councils focusing on English language arts. And we're going to be piloting 2 programs, Amplify CKLA and another program called Wonders. And basically our time frame for that will be February to probably May, giving each program ample time to be piloted in the schools, and teachers will be giving feedback. A few secondary pieces of information. Midterms are now completed at the high school. AP Seminar had some great presentations a few weeks ago. 6 through 8 is also looking at adopting a new ELA curriculum. They have a curriculum council, and they're looking at adopting either Amplify or EL Open Up. Program of studies is completed and course selection will begin soon. And graduation requirements continue to be discussed at the state level. So that is all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Jeannie.
Dr. Clifford, I'm sorry if this is redundant to our December meeting, but the $63,000 that's projected cuts from the level service budget to make that 2.5, what would be included in that specifically? Are you aware?
Yeah, that really speaks to the fact that because we got the PRISM grant, I'm not having to ask for any money to, a large amount of money for a new ELA curriculum. Half of that's going to be covered by the PRISM grant, so it's able to bring that down a bit.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Dr. Clifford, are we able to apply for the PRISM grant again for next year?
Yeah, that will be year 2. And keep in mind, we have it for the Silver Lake Preschool, they're also selecting, they're also piloting 2 programs. So Silver Lake has it for the preschool, and then also Kingston and Plimpton have the PRISM grant, and we will have it for next year. That phase will be money for implementation and professional development, and I believe it's called phase 3. There may be some things that we need to fill out, but we're going to be getting that funding next year, which is exciting.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. All right. Are there any other questions for Dr. Clifford? Okay. Dr. Prue.
So we already have presented that the assessment presentation will be Thursday night. And the governor's budget has been released. Also in your packet, you'll find a calendar of school committee meetings, and you will see how they fall on the newly approved school calendar for the year. If you could please take a look, Kingston is presented in green, and included in that is the public budget hearing anticipated for February 1st, April 5th for the school choice hearing, and closeout on July 12th. Also, you'll notice 3 joint school committee meetings, November 12th, which is when we usually give our budget updates for curriculum, special education, and technology. And in February, we will hold another joint school committee meeting this year to vote in particular, not the only agenda item, but we always have this because we oftentimes have to vote the shared cost budget as late as February. And then one in April, which we generally use to go over accomplishments or progress towards goals throughout the school year in our schools.
All right.
Any questions or issues with the meeting schedule? And if possible, looking for a vote of approval.
Just about to ask if you'd like a motion for approval of the meeting schedule.
Yes, please.
Okay. I will make a motion that we approve the school committee meeting schedule and joint meeting schedule for 26-27.
Second, Sheila.
Thank you. Okay, roll call vote. Jeannie Coleman,
Yes.
Jesse Keith,
Yes.
Sheila Vaughn,
Yes.
Jennifer Crouchen,
Yes.
and I am a yes.
Thank you.
Okay. And then, is there any further budget discussion at this point? Okay.
Nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, which leads us to our subcommittee reports. Admin review. Jeannie, you want to take that one?
I'm drawing a blank. We did meet, the admin review team did meet, and we recommended the contracts that were presented. I don't believe we've added anything else since that meeting. Nope, because a lot of it's going to be relying on the shared cost discussion at the end of February. Sorry, I wasn't prepared to.
No, thank you. Okay. Pilgrim Area Collaborative. Sheila.
We had no meeting. We are meeting Thursday.
All right. Thank you. Union 31.
There is a joint meeting that'll be the end of the month. All are welcome to attend. It will be discussing the shared cost contracts.
Excellent. Thank you. Negotiations. We have begun negotiations with the KTA and KESPA.
We have an executive session after this?
We do.
Okay.
All right. Budget advisory. I don't think we have any further advisement at this time. Facility oversight. I don't think there are any updates for that. Policy. Jesse.
No policy updates at this time.
Okay. And technology. I don't believe there are any technology updates either. Okay. Jeannie.
I just wanted to note, since Jesse just chimed in for policy, that Jesse is actually now the chair of admin review. So thank you, Jesse, for taking that on. And I should have let you provide the update.
You're right.
Thanks
Thank you for the
taking
reminder. I
it.
apologize that slipped my mind. So thank you and thank you. Okay. Was there any other business not foreseen at time of posting? Okay. That said, would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn into executive session, not to return to open session? The language is on the.
Yeah, I got it. I'd like to return to executive session, Chapter 30A, Section 21-2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with KESPA support staff and KTA Kingston teachers. 7, to comply with the act under the authority of any general law to approve executive minutes December 1st, 2025 to December 8th, 2025 and December 21st, 2025, and not return to open session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote. Jeannie Coleman.
Yes.
Jesse Keith.
Yes.
Sheila Vaughn.
Yes.
Jennifer Crouchen.
Yes.
And I am a yes. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody.